I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially for someone that's looking for their first business. It's a really easy business to start. You can easily run this whole business on 15 hours a week.
Every aspiring entrepreneur, they know that having an audience is powerful, but 95% of them have no desire to get in front of the camera. It sucks. I feel like this is a great loophole where you can just, through Claude, through ChatGPT, use emails to build an audience. 35,000 people in a city is more powerful than 1 million TikTok followers that are worldwide. It is.
$144,000 a year in revenue just on our newsletter ad. Instagram, it's $2,800 for one post. It's essentially a business that can't lose. The longer I'm in the business, the more money I'm going to make. If I wanted to, in 3 years, I could run for mayor.
Now, only the OG fans of this podcast will remember this, but a whole year and a half ago, when I first started this podcast, it originally began as a question and answer show. And it was live. People would call in, ask me questions about their business or their business idea, and I would answer it on the spot. Well, in one of those first episodes, this guy from Canada named Jazz called. And he was throwing around this idea for a business, and I gave him some advice. He took the advice, and now, a year later, he has a profitable 6-figure business on his hands. And he just launched another business that's already profitable that piggybacks on that first business that I helped him launch. This is a business that literally anyone could start with almost no money. The path to growth is very clear and outlined in this episode. So let's go.
I think there's a lot of opportunity in local newsletters, especially for someone that's looking for their first business, even I would say, right? It's a really easy business to start. And honestly, as step by step as it gets, right? Yeah, you're just basically replacing the traditional media and people are looking for something new. So,
okay, so why don't we start by you telling me about your local newsletter? Where's it based? How many subscribers do you have? And
yeah, for sure. So my local newsletter, it's called Winnipeg Digest. It's most people don't know about Winnipeg, but it's like a cold city here in Canada in the middle of it. And so I started it here. I've been here for about 11, 12 years, and I was looking for my first business to start on my own. Beforehand, I had some experience growing social media followings to 100K or something when I was 14, selling them to e-commerce companies like theme pages and things of that nature. So wanted to start a business, had seen Ryan Snedden, who does it in Annapolis, do it, and had wanted to start it for a while, honestly. And so I thought, okay, it can't really be too difficult. Started it in last year, April, so 2024, April. And then since then, we now reach over 100,000 Winnipeggers. That's a combination of social media and newsletters. So we have about 73,000 followers on social media.
There's 800,000 people in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, it's about 800K. And then our newsletter is at about 35,000 people now. So,
okay. So 70 something on social, 35,000 on newsletter.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the split now. And it's good. We're now trying to start other businesses off of it. So.
Okay. We'll get into that. Trust me. I'm very curious about that. Now, you live in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah. I live here.
How well do you know the market? How long have you been there?
I've basically grown up here. I've been here for over 12, 13 years now. So I know the market fairly well, and Winnipeg isn't necessarily a tech savvy city. I could, I kind of make the joke here that I can copy anything off of Twitter and paste it here and it would do well. Yeah, so it's not a tech savvy city at all, unlike Calgary or something in Canada. And so, it's a really easy market to start any business here. And so there's low competition.
How successful would you be if you took let's say Austin, Texas, 800,000 people, give or take? How successful would you be if you would have taken the exact same playbook and done it in Austin? Austin might be a bad example because they probably have 100 local newsletters. So ignoring that, just the fact that you were not a local, how would you have done?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to personally start it, I would start it somewhere where you do have a first mover's advantage, So that's what Winnipeg did so well for me, is because there was not even an Instagram account that just compiled all the events here, right? Let alone having a newsletter based on it. So it was a really easy market for me to kind of take a monopoly over. And the thing is, now if anyone else starts a local newsletter here in Winnipeg, their cost for acquiring a subscriber is automatically going to be much higher, right? So I would highly recommend if someone is starting one. So I know a few people in Texas that are starting one, and they are now targeting suburbs around Austin rather than the actual city of Austin.
Yeah. So gun to your head, if you had to choose between a city you were very familiar with, but didn't have a first mover's advantage, and a city that you weren't familiar with but did have a first mover's advantage, which would you choose?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's multiple models to go about this. So you can definitely even partner up with someone in another city. I would probably go with the place where I have the first mover's advantage, just because
Good.
acquiring the acquisition cost per subscriber will be much lower, right? Like
Yeah.
I was acquiring subscribers for 15 cents Canadian, right?
Oh, oh, so like 12, 11 cents US.
Yeah. So even today, I'm acquiring subscribers for like max like $1.30 or something like that.
Phew.
Yeah. So
What is your subscriber worth, give or take?
yeah, so they're worth about, if I am able to sell out every single ad slot in my newsletter for the year, and we only do one ad slot per newsletter, about $8 to $9 a year is kind of what they're worth at the
Wow.
current open rate we have.
Per year
Yeah.
too. And I'm guessing at your normal open rate, they're probably going to be ran for like 5+ years.
Yeah, easily. Like we have a 0.05% unsubscribe rate or something like that.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's so good. So it's like you kind of created slash invented this money machine that turns $1 into $40 or $50. As long as you're willing to be patient, you don't get that immediately. It takes 5 years to get the LTV, lifetime value. But nonetheless, like you created this template and now put in one, get out 50.
100%. I mean, it's obviously much easier said than done. Like, I think the biggest problem that local newsletters run into is not building the audience. Anyone can build the audience. Anyone can turn on Facebook ads and put out a decent product. The thing that you most likely end up will have problems with is getting sponsors. Is selling local businesses on a whole new concept of advertising. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest problem that most folks run into, is definitely anyone can get to 10 to 15,000 subs. Anybody. It's just that acquiring sponsors for 10 to 15,000 subs.
Well, here's a perfect example. And we're going to get into this when you talk about how you're going to launch a business based on this. If I want a sponsor for this podcast, they're going to pay me, call it $20 per 1,000 views.
Mhm.
Right? If I use Spotify ads, like the annoying ads that Spotify puts in themselves, which I turned on for a week just to test and I'm turning it off, it's $6 per 1,000 views. Downloads, which is nothing. Like that is pennies, right? So $6 from Spotify, $20 if I and or my agent go out and hustle to find sponsors. But if I build my own business that's in this niche, in this vertical, it's relevant to my audience, and I put in an ad for it, it's $200 per 1,000 views. It's not, it's a 10x difference, right? Like a 50x difference based on, the lazy way of just putting Spotify mid-roll ads for, Toyota, Chevrolet local dealers, which I'm just not going to do. So there's so much power in having a business mind and having a newsletter or an audience, because you can vertically integrate and sell your own stuff and not the local bakery or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it gets me excited you talking about that, because like when we started the newsletter, my whole idea was, hey, I'm going to build companies on top of this. And anybody I would talk to would be saying, yeah, but that's like an unrealistic thing. Like, it's tough to obviously run multiple businesses, and I totally understand that. And, we've obviously shifted the vision a little bit, but if you're going to just go sell ads on top of your local newsletter, it's going to be really hard to monetize. Like you will cap out at max $500,000 a year. Like that is the absolute, like if you have everything perfect in a great market, you'll still cap out at 500K a year.
But some people are hearing that and thinking, I'm cool with that.
It's definitely not a side gig, or it's not a bad place to start, right? But like if you're really trying to make serious money or trying to grow the business, you'd have to vertically integrate it at some point.
Yeah. Okay. So 35,000 subscribers. How many do you send per week?
We send out 3 times a week.
Okay. How did you land on that? Did you start with that or did you finish with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we started with once a week. We felt that there was too much content for us to cover in just a 1 time a week edition. Then we went to 2 times a week. And this was like in a span of a month, by the way. Like this was not, we didn't wait too long. We started once a week, felt there was too much content, then went to 2 times a week. Again, still too much content to cover. Did 3 times a week. And then we sometimes started running out of content. So we're like, okay, so 3 times a week cadence is like a good amount, where even if one email is shorter than the other 2, no one's really complaining about that.
Let's talk about your content. Is it like local news? Is it updates? Is it opinion pieces?
When we started, I remember Ryan saying this one thing when we started. It was, everything other than crime and politics. And that's exactly what we have run with as well. So
Okay.
it's basically events, community updates, city updates, any new bylaws, anything that is happening in the city, basically away from crime and politics is what we promote.
Okay. It would go a really long way if you just subscribe to this channel. It's just a good way of saying, Chris, thanks for the value. Now, I understand politics. You don't want to alienate half of your subscribers, right? Why not crime?
Like we will occasionally talk about it, saying something like, "Oh, the most wanted report has come out for Winnipeg," like just to make people aware of it. We don't necessarily want to talk about like someone getting stabbed or something like that, right? Especially like
It's just not the vibe.
yeah, it's not the vibe, and I mean Winnipeg is known as like the murder capital of Canada, and so
Wow. I had no
because
idea.
of that reason, we're like, you know what, we're gonna change the narrative. And also from a
Yeah.
storytelling perspective, it sounds amazing when we say something like, where everyone says Winnipeg is boring and we're trying to change that narrative.
Yeah. I love that. I just had an idea. Like, if you find yourself running out of content, I feel like you could supplement with like opinion pieces, like Greg from, from this neighborhood ranks the 3 best ice cream shops in Winnipeg,
Yeah, 100%. And we now also integrate a lot of our socials. Like on socials, we'll say, here are the 10 best homes listed in Winnipeg this month or something, right? So we can integrate a lot of that into our newsletter as well.
How many words on average are your emails?
400 to 2,600.
So pretty long, pretty big.
Yeah, they're fairly long, but honestly, half of it is events because each event has
Okay.
like a small description associated with it.
What are your open rates and click-through rates like today versus first couple months?
Yeah, I mean, they've stayed fairly consistent. We've always been above 50%. Click-through rate has always been in the ballpark of like 8 to 12%.
Oh, crazy high, man.
Yeah. So open rate today is about 56 to 60%. So it can vary, obviously, depending on the set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've noticed there's like a law of newsletters where the bigger it gets, the more your open rate drops. Like in my experience, have you seen that? Like, did it start in the 60s and then very slowly ticks its way down?
Yeah, I mean, it did do that. And then what we started doing was we cleaned our list like 2 or 3 times, but that was honestly kind of a mistake on our end because sometimes what ends up happening is, for example, Beehive in this case might be showing that someone is not receiving an email, and they might be. But sometimes they might be opening an email and it's showing that they're not opening an email, right? So so that isn't always fully tracked.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you start cleaning your list, you might start cleaning people that are actually reading your email.
I've had the same mistake. I set up an automation in Beehive to clean the list for me. And I would just, every day I wake up and I'd see these drops overnight. And it's like, like, is that the right thing to do? And I finally turned it off. And I'm just going to do it manually, like once every 2 months.
Agreed. I think that's the best way to do it.
What is your writing style like? Are you writing all these emails yourself? What is the vibe of the newsletter?
It's super casual. It's like a very, very casual vibe where it's almost like I'm talking to them. It's not written in newsletter jargon. It's a fifth grader reading level, super easy to understand. Even when we're talking about like city bylaws being passed, we're making sure everybody can understand what's happening. And the feedback we get whenever we see a reader out and about, it is that, hey, we love the positive outlook that you have on the city and the conversational tone of your writing. And so that's the way that we've written it. It's not any news jargon that we're using in there.
Yeah. What about AI? Are you using AI to write this or to help write it?
Yeah, I mean, if we like started writing this whole thing on our like just ourselves, it would probably take like 8 hours a day or something. So we do definitely use like Claude and ChatGPT. And then I have 2 VAs who are kind of responsible for, one is responsible for events, the other one's responsible for writing, and they kind of do everything for me. So that's why it's a little bit automated.
So it's like the first draft through Claude/ChatGPT, and then a human goes through and cleans it up.
Yeah, so they do that, and then I go through and usually like late at night, probably 11, 12 p.m., I'm usually going through final draft, an hour of me looking over it, making final changes.
It's funny you say like it would take 8 hours a day, but up until 2 years ago,
Yeah.
that's what everyone did, right?
Yeah. It's been super helpful for us. We haven't gotten into like automating things just yet, like completely automating things, but that's something that, we're looking into.
What is your time involvement per week on this?
Because of sponsors, like bringing in sponsors and sending ad drafts and things of that nature, like it ends up being probably close to 20 hours a week. It used to be a lot more because I used to write every edition and also make a social post and stuff. When we also were growing our social media following, it was very heavy video, reels. So it was going out and
Mhm.
recording them, editing, voiceovers. Now we've shifted to completely just carousels. And so that's made our life a lot easier as well.
What is your revenue like, your monthly revenue today?
Yeah, today it's about it can range from 12 to 15,000 currently. So that's the general revenue. And
That's
then
amazing.
yeah, it's good. Like we've grown a decent amount, I would say, in the last like 6 months is where a bunch of it's starting to compound now.
I always like to use like a rough 50 cents per month per subscriber. It sounds like you're kind of close. Well, actually, you might even be above that because that's at 5 cents per week.
Yeah.
So if you were to extrapolate that out, you'd be probably closer to 60 or 70 cents per subscriber per month if it was five per week, right?
Yeah, that's about the average that we try and go for. We also haven't explored any of the like negative CAC and things of that nature. Like I think that's something that we would do want to explore eventually. I just haven't gone around
Yeah.
it just yet.
And for those listening or watching, negative CAC is negative customer acquisition costs, where instead of paying Facebook for your leads, like you're getting paid for your new subscribers, right?
Yeah.
And is that kind of like, from what I understand that to be, you pay Facebook $1.20 for a subscriber, and then they go through a flow. Like they subscribe, and then you say, "Hey, check out these newsletters." And then once that's done, it's like, "Hey, fill out this form," and then you can kind of sell those leads.
You can do that. The way we would most likely go about doing it if we did it was like, let's say if we sold a discount card or something, right? Like, oh, buy this discount card for $20 and get 10% off of
Mm,
these 20 restaurants or something, right?
yeah,
What we would do is let's say if we're getting a subscriber for $1, right? And so even if 1 in 10 people convert, right, we're basically making money every single time we're paying Facebook, right? And that's
yeah,
without going to sponsorships at all. That's just like just in the
yep,
first 7 days, basically.
yeah. I think people also call it self-liquidating ads, right? Where you make money for acquiring customers, and then you show them ads and make more money. That's
Yeah.
the gold standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes time. Like there's a lot of things at play, right?
100%. And I mean, a lot of things are local newsletters, unlike traditional newsletters where you can just plug other newsletters and get them to subscribe to that. The downside with local newsletters is that you can't just plug any other AI newsletter or something, start making
Yeah,
money off of that.
it's true.
You almost need local offerings that you can offer these readers so it doesn't feel like you're a foreign company or something like that. It should feel
Yeah.
local.
I feel like someone needs to build a Spark Loop for local newsletters. And for those listening, Spark Loop is like a referral engine for newsletters where you subscribe to what's the name of your newsletter?
Winnipeg Digest.
The Winnipeg Digest, and then you get a pop up, five other newsletters. What you're saying is that you don't want to compete with yourself in Winnipeg, so you don't even want to refer them. A, B, there's no one else to refer
Yeah.
really. So if there was like a Spark Loop that could aggregate all the restaurants or auto repair businesses in Winnipeg, and you could sell them leads for every time they check that box, right? Wouldn't that be an interesting business?
I think that's a really good business, especially because, well, we can also promote other local newsletters, right? Because they're completely different cities, and someone living in Winnipeg
Yeah.
doesn't care about
No,
Austin, Texas, right?
no.
So that's why
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem for at least solving that negative CAC issue for us is, you kind of have to make a custom offering just for your
Yeah.
subscribers.
Yeah. But like if I could subscribe to your newsletter and then get like $20 in Kohl's cash
Yeah,
for checking a box, therefore being added to Kohl's email list, that could be pretty valuable for Kohl's and for you, right?
agreed. I think that's a good idea, and then you would obviously have to just put in place those partnerships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you weren't chasing after sponsors, which I know is like most of your time right now, how much time would it be taking per week to run this?
Ah, man, like 7 hours at max, probably. Yeah,
Wow.
like it probably takes about an hour a day for reviewing content for Instagram, sending, making sure the content is good for the newsletter and things of that nature. Yeah, about 7 hours a week.
Okay. Outside of Claude, ChatGPT, what does your tech stack look like for this?
Yeah, I mean, we use Beehive for sending. A lot of things Beehive does, right? So I would say analytics and everything we get from Beehive. Sponsorships, I track everything in Notion. I haven't really invested in any specific CRM for just tracking sponsors. So I've built kind of a semi-custom one in Notion. Yeah, other than that, it's just ChatGPT, Claude, and
Yeah.
nothing really other than that. And Instagram is, yeah, nothing significant. Canva,
I mean, Beehive is amazing. Do you use like their boost features or any of their other like monetization features?
I don't, because again, those ads don't apply to local. It's not a good experience for the reader at the end of the day. And yeah, like we want to make money based like using the reader as future customers for other businesses. So if we start providing a bad experience, they're going to start opening less, and it's just a downward spiral from there.
How much are you testing your subject lines or your preview lines, if at all?
Yeah, so we're usually, I mean, now I've gotten pretty good at basically knowing which ones are gonna do well. In the beginning, we used to test them almost every edition. Now we don't really test them because I know that automatically almost know which one's gonna do better or not.
Yeah. Have you noticed that like on the whole, shorter just does better? Shorter subject lines?
100% under 5 words. Like time should be in there. Something like this weekend, new,
Urgency.
yeah,
Yeah.
urgency. And so I would say under 5 words, kind of under 5 words and under 40 characters.
I love that. People just want to say everything, but it's like you're not leaving anything to the imagination. The more you say, the less reason they have to click because you're answering their question with the
100%.
subject line, you know?
100%. Yeah, like I think today's was something like new Winnipeg Costco location. That's it.
They click because they want to know where, when,
Exactly.
right? You could put like, hey, on the corner of X and Y, new Costco location opening,
Yeah.
August 3rd. How small is too small for a market? Because I know you're in Winnipeg, but you live this world. You're talking to other local newsletter operators. What is your experience?
Anything under 100K is too small. I would say even 150K. I would say anything under that is almost too small. So you want to then broaden out, maybe do your county or something like that. Anything over 1 million, I almost find it's too much because then you have way too much to cover unless you're doing 5 times a week. If you're doing 5 times a
Yeah.
week, you may be able to get away with it. But over 1 million, you're pretty much pushing it with the amount of things that you can add in there. And it's almost over 1 million people. The city is so spread out that, let's say, I'm not sure with Austin, but someone living in South Winnipeg is probably not going to care about things happening in North Winnipeg.
It's like a different world. Yeah.
Exactly. It's almost the different cities at that point. So if you're over 1 million, you should almost have two different newsletters for like splitting the city in half or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some other creative customer acquisition strategies if paid ads just aren't your thing?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're gonna spend $100, I would say $90 should be spent on just Facebook ads. If you're going more the creative route, Instagram obviously helps you. We've had great success with it using ManyChat. We haven't fully explored that channel. That's something we're now exploring. Referrals are huge though. Having, for example, for us, we do restaurant guides and hiking guides, and we change those according to the season that's about to come up. So let's say with winter, it's
Mhm.
going to be top 50 things to do in Winnipeg this winter, right? And so we kind of change that up according to the season. And so referral guides are huge for us as well.
Are you more interested in growing horizontally and adding more local newsletters or vertically and just going to 5 days a week, more sponsors, like more vertical integration by launching other businesses that you promote with this?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, so I've kind of considered both channels or both kind of ways. If you go vertically, if you go horizontally, there are other companies that do this, like 6 a.m. City and things like that, that I just
Mhm.
find your CPMs drop a lot just because then you start having national brands, which are not going to pay you $100 per thousand views, right? And so if you start working with Nike, they're just going to pay you a lump sum, which is going to be like
Yeah.
$10 CPMs, if that. So that's why I find that rather than just going horizontal, I would rather prove out a money model in my own city, right? Then go to other cities. So for example, if I start a business on top of this, right? And I know that, okay, on average, each subscriber to me, rather than being worth $7 now, is worth $15 a year, then I'm competing on a whole different game when I go to another city, right? Like, let's say if I expand
Mhm.
out to Calgary, what's going to happen is when my competitor can only acquire subscribers for maybe $2 a sub, I can acquire them for 5 and still have a great ROAS on the customers that I'm
Yeah.
acquiring.
Okay. ROAS, return on ad spend,
Yeah.
for those listening. You mentioned CPM, the amount of money you can charge per thousand opens, right? Not per thousand subs, but opens, right? What are you charging nowadays for ads?
We're about 70 something dollars, like probably $75 CPM
Wow,
for
that's huge.
local advertisers. And then a lot of them, so we sell annual spots, like that's kind of our business model, is we sell
Okay.
exclusivity. Like if anyone is looking to sell sponsorship, don't sell one-off sponsorships. You're not going to make money. You want to
Yeah.
sell annual sponsorships on an exclusivity basis. So if we work with one HVAC company, we're not working with any other HVAC company for that full year, right? And so you're trying to sell exclusivity is what your main thing you're trying to sell is. So now when we go to a sponsor, we say, hey, you're basically getting a monopoly over 100,000, and it's the only form of advertising that lets you do that.
And you said only one ad per newsletter. So 19,000 opens per send times 75. You're looking at like 1,400 for one send.
That's our cost for a one-time advertiser. So
Yeah.
if someone's coming in just a one-time ad, like they have an event coming up or something, that's what they'll pay. For our Instagram, it's double. So it's 2,800 for one
Nice.
post. Yeah, and then obviously if they're annual subscribe or if they're annual sponsor, they get much better ad rates than $70 per thousand sets.
How much better?
Yeah, so right now we're charging about $12,000 for 12 newsletter ads, so one per month.
One per month. Okay. That way you don't like oversaturate yourself. They don't see it too often.
Yeah, 100%. And what ends up happening is, so we send out, give or take, let's say 12 newsletters per month, times that by $12,000 a month. So that's, I think, $144,000 a year in revenue just on our newsletter ads. That doesn't even include our Instagram, right?
All right, guys, you know I'm always looking for ways to help you make more money with less effort. Well, High Level is too, and I think that's why I like it so much. While everyone else out there is switching between 10 different apps, High Level puts everything in one clean dashboard. You can send emails, track leads, build funnels, schedule appointments, everything. And no more logging into a bunch of different platforms. Your clients think you're some tech wizard when really all you did is stop making things so complicated. Sometimes the best ideas are the simple ones. So check out gohighlevel.com/Chris Koerner, link below if you want to see what I mean. If you use that link, they'll give you a 30-day free trial.
And so, we're kind of looking at in the ballpark of about 200K when you kind of combine everything together. And then we have some other like local markets and stuff that we end up running throughout the year. Yeah.
If someone's launching this, like what types of local businesses, local sponsors should they target? Because you've probably learned like this, I'm sure this isn't accurate, but like an auto repair store may be much more likely to give you money, but not get much ROI out of it. So they're not ever going to do a long-term thing. Whereas a local bookstore might be really hard to convert, but they see a really big return on investment and therefore could become like a highly recurring customer. What kind of things like that have you learned about the types of sponsors that are best for local newsletters?
I would say probably like event venues are great, right? So we have an event venue who is our annual sponsors. They do, I think this year they're going to be spending $40,000 a year with us, right? So they're probably our biggest advertiser. Other than that, I just sell people on LTV. Just say that, hey, for example,
Lifetime value.
yeah. So if let's say a dentist is coming to you or you're talking to a dentist, you ask them, right? What's on average a customer worth to you? A customer is worth $5,000 to me. Great. So if you're going to spend $10,000 with me, I just need to get you 4 customers for you to double your return on ad spend with us, right? And you're telling me I can't get you 4 out of 35,000 people, right? So it's an easy sell to make.
Oh, I love that. And honestly, a customer for a dentist is probably worth a lot more than that, right? Because they might stay with them for 5 or 50 years.
100%. So dentists, HVAC, plumbing, roofing,
high ticket stuff,
anything,
or highly recurring.
Exactly. And like what we do is we actually run a survey. The second someone signs up, they get straight sent to a survey that they fill out what part of the city they live in. Do they own a home, not own a home? Are they looking to sell a home, buy a home, upsell, down? Like, what are they looking to do essentially? Like, what is their current household income? And so that then allows us to go to advertisers and say, hey, 75% of our audience are homeowners. And that's a very valuable audience for you. So I highly recommend, like, it will end up working out for you.
What percentage of your subscribers fill out that survey?
About an 87% like completion rate.
Are you serious? 87% fill out the survey?
Yeah. So
that's insanity.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And how many questions are in it?
8.
Holy cow. I would have thought 5%.
Yeah.
I just think local newsletters are built different. They're just so loyal, and they're just like, you're contributing to the community. They're like being a good citizen by contributing to your capitalism, right? Which you're not complaining.
I mean, to be very
Man,
fair though, I think if anyone is starting one, please take this from a perspective of when you're bringing on advertisers, don't bring on casinos or clubs if that's not the vibe you're trying to set, right? Short term, you
yeah,
might be shooting yourself in the foot for turning down revenue, but long term, your readers really do appreciate that. That they don't
yeah,
have to, because your readers are mainly going to be 70% females, 80% females between the ages of 35 to 65. They're all looking to
yeah,
learn about clubs and casinos. So you're much
yeah.
better off just like actually handpicking the advertisers that are going to add value to their life
Yeah.
as well.
But I'll tell you what, that demographic that you just named is like the most valuable demographic. Those are the spenders in the household.
Yeah.
They are,
Yeah.
right?
And that goes back to like the new business that we're starting and why we have picked that business as well.
I'm going to get to that. I'm saving the best for last. What survey tool do you use for that survey?
Beehive. So you can build a survey in
Okay.
Beehive. Yeah. It's fairly easy. So
Why don't I have a survey on my newsletter? I feel like an idiot. Like I
yeah,
should totally do
yeah,
that.
that and polls. I think those two are the most
I
like,
do
yeah,
polls.
those are the most
Yeah.
used like things that you should probably do if you're running a newsletter.
How successful are you in finding sponsors in your subscriber base? Like putting an ad in there for yourself saying, your ad here. Does that work?
It does sometimes, but for smaller companies, I would say, and that's not really our target audience. So a lot of the larger advertisers are relationships you're building, or they'll reach out, or something like their marketing coordinator is some 23-year-old that follows our Instagram and has no idea that even our newsletter even exists. So they'll reach out wanting a feature on the Instagram. I'll hop on a call with them, sell them this whole new world of newsletters. And then actually that's where I get the ad dollars from them from. So it's usually like the foot in the door is like some 23-year-old marketing coordinator who is like on their team and thinks it's a cool idea to be featured on our Instagram.
Are there any like other perks, like local perks, like priority seating, or you ever get recognized? Any intangibles like that?
Yeah, so I mean, when I had my face associated with the brand, so in the beginning we did a lot of reels. That's how I grew the Instagram following pretty heavily. We did a lot of reels, a lot of restaurant reviews and things of that nature. So I would be recognized like 5, 6 times a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like I would be at the gym.
Was that cool?
It was cool for sure, but then it was also concerning at the same time because I was like, okay, if I ever want to sell this thing, I can't have my face associated with it. So that's why we switched more to carousels, a way where I disassociate my face from it, and then it becomes a sellable asset at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So you're dabbling in Christmas lights. Is that right?
That's the new business we're starting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is that the business, or have you done other like vertically integrated businesses for this?
No, so that's like our first business on top of this. Yeah, it was the thinking behind it was it's seasonal, it works great. It doesn't, we forget about it, right? Second thing is that it's high LTV customers. So let's say it's a leasing model, so you don't sell the Christmas lights, right? So when we lease the Christmas lights out to them, they're usually staying with us for another 4 or 5 years, right? Or even like let's say 3 years. So we end up making a lot more money on them in the following years. And then if it works out great, then a natural upsell into it would be permanent lights. So those are the lights that
Yep.
go in your
Like
underneath.
jellyfish.
Yeah, yeah. So it would be the permanent lights that kind of go underneath your gutters and stuff like that, right? And so that's kind of the plan is okay, if it works out great, come next spring, we're going to start the permanent lights business. And then also we have a lot of females, obviously, that are readers. That's our primary reader. And I was like, man, if I go and start an HVAC or roofing company or something, if someone's heat goes out, they're not going to say, let me pull up Winnipeg Digest and find find the HVAC tech. So Christmas lights, it was great because I feel like females are primarily the ones making that decision. And that's exactly
Mm-hmm.
what's happened as well. So we started running some ads in the Winnipeg Digest, have already sold like 5, 6 jobs before the season has even started at all, before the main season kind of kicks in. So
One piece of advice, take it or leave it. I have a friend that has a Christmas light slash roofing slash, he has several different successful big home service businesses in Pennsylvania. And he says, like, stay away from permanent lighting, stay away from jellyfish. He says he only installs it if someone like demands it, and he can't have them as a customer any other way it's just a one-time thing.
yeah,
And then sometimes he has to go out there and maintain it and fix it. And hates his life every time.
Mm.
He says if he could have it his way, permanent lights were never installed, and he only does Christmas lights on the leasing program every year. All right, so when you put this ad in your own newsletter for your other business, are you calling it your other business, or does it seem just like a third party entirely?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we ended up doing so what we did is we ran a giveaway. I had heard it in some like Alex Ramosi video or something where he mentioned run a giveaway, give one thing away, and call everybody else and say, hey, you get $150 off for just entering the giveaway. So did that, got about 300 entries or something like that.
This is a giveaway for free Christmas lights?
Exactly. Yeah. And then we called it
Okay.
That Just Lights, the company. No website, nothing like that at all. But when we do the
That
branding
Just
for it,
Lights.
it's going
Okay.
to be the same colors as Winnipeg Digest.
Yeah. I love that. You're just leaning into it,
Yeah.
right? Like you're supporting the newsletter by going through me for your Christmas lights. You're probably going to go through someone, go through me.
Yeah. And then now what we're doing is, we can run offers that kind of make it seem like they're exclusive for the readers. So we'll say something like, hey, get your Christmas lights done before October 7th and you get $150 off or something, right? The
Mm,
plus point for us is our season doesn't start until October 15th anyways. So anything that we
yeah.
do before that is just extending our season more and more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you planning on like running this? Like, are you outsourcing it to another company? Tell me how the operations of this looks.
In an ideal world, what I would like to do is kind of have Winnipeg Digest as a marketing arm for multiple businesses. So let's say I either acquire equity or I get like given equity into businesses, whether that's 15, 20%, of course, depending on the size of the business. And we end up becoming like a fully fractional CMO type of situation where they get access to Winnipeg Digest, they get access to me, right? And then we handle all their marketing for them, right? And then in return, we get some sort of equity share in it. That's the ideal world situation. But to go to a business today and a local business owner and say, hey, give me 15, 20% of your business, that's kind of, they're not going to believe in the fact that, hey, we can actually deliver that value for them. So that's why we
Yeah.
started our own business for now, at least. That's the Christmas Lights one, where we're going to run everything. So I did my first install yesterday. And
Nice.
yeah. And so then the plus point about this is I am learning, obviously, the skill set of putting the Christmas lights and stuff. And then this is the only company we'll ideally own. And then after this kind of proves out the model that, hey, this works for home services. And then we're able to acquire equity into other home services after this.
Yeah. Okay. Of all the businesses out there, what made you think Christmas lights?
Yeah, I mean, its biggest thing was it's seasonality, right? So
But most people look at that as a negative, right?
yeah, for me it was, well, I have a primary business which is Winnipeg Digest. I don't have to take away too much time away from this. It's just 10 weeks. I give 10 weeks. If it works out great, amazing, I double down. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to forget about it like it never existed. And there's no website or anything for it yet, so
Okay. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. What are the unit economics of these jobs? What's an average job size? What are you going to take home per job? I know it varies from year to year. There's higher costs on year one. Can you break all that down?
Yeah, I mean, this is just our obviously first year doing it. We've booked 5 jobs the last week. About $1,400 is our average job right now.
Wow.
Cost of doing that job for us is most likely going to be like $200-300. But like the thing is we're actually doing the labor right now ourselves, right? So it's owner
Yeah.
operated. So that pricing takes into account in the future when we do end up hiring labor and everything like that. And then following years, I think on average, the average is about 85% for the amount of customers that stay on year over year.
Wow. Okay. So the 2 to 300, that includes the lights or just labor?
No, it's about $300. $300 is it just includes the lights.
Okay. So your labor, you're not like counting your labor as a cost. All I heard is, $6,000 of net profit, for on five
Yeah,
jobs,
yeah. So
right?
it's fairly high, at least right now. And then they take about 4-ish hours to do, 3-4 hours to do, which is not terrible for the first year. Second year, we've already cut the lights for them and already have the bulbs pre-screwed. So it's like, that kind of time gets fed into half.
What are you going to have to pay in labor to have that 4 hour job done once you do start hiring people?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be just minimum wage. It won't be crazy.
$100 in labor per job, give or take?
It's about $15 an hour, give or take. Let's just say, 3 people doing a job, right? Should take 3 hours. So yeah, like give or take $150.
Wow. Okay. let's say year 2, you stop doing it yourself, you hire it all out. You don't have the COGS, the cost of goods sold, the hard costs anymore. Now you have the labor cost, but it's half as much. So if you have, call it 80% margins year 1, even if you outsource all the labor, year 2 plus, you have 90% margins.
Yeah, my goal is not to run the business myself for sure. I'll definitely be bringing in an operator where I can get them to like best equity or something over a few years. Of course, that'll be a whole new world of problems, but it'll be fun. I think it'll be
Yeah.
fun where, I don't want to run the Christmas lights business at the end of the day.
Right. But I say this all the time. Like, it's important that people get to know the weeds before they outsource, these core competencies and get out of the weeds. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I heard a guy on the internet say, I need to outsource things. I'm above this. No, you got to know exactly what those weeds look like until you're ready to get out of them.
Exactly, which is why I decided to do the jobs myself this first year. Easily, I could have like hired someone just using the cash flow from Winnipeg Digest. Like it wouldn't be too difficult. It's just that down the road, I don't want someone saying that it took 7 hours when it should have taken 3.
Like, bro, I've been on that ladder. I know what you're doing.
Yeah. So that's the simple reason why I was like, you know what? First year, it's 10 weeks. I just won't have a life for 10 weeks. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Okay. How many jobs do you think you'll do this year based on what your conversion rates are looking like?
Yeah, so I mean, we sucked at sales for the first like 7, 8 quotes that we gave out. And then now we've started converting, like I think in the last like 6 jobs, we've converted 4 of them. Or in the last 6 quotes, we've converted 4 of them. I think I am very safely saying that we'll hit $100,000 in revenue in the first year.
Jeez.
I think so, at least. That's not for good.
Yeah. How did you get better at sales? How did you suck before versus what you're doing today?
Yeah, so I mean, we would just go in before and try to close them on at the door, and we would have we would book an appointment, like a design consult, and they would come out and we would literally just try and close them there. And I didn't realize that, okay, that's what we shouldn't do. So then I talked to a friend of mine who did painting. So he did door-to-door painting, like student painting or something like that. And so he's like, yo, if you have a design consult booked, you're going to go inside their home, sit with them, showcase them the mock-up before and after, walk them through your booklet, and then you're going to price anchor them to this price, right? Like just the whole shebang, right? And so that's kind of what we've started doing now, where we go in and we have the quote at like $3,000 or something. That includes all the trees and the home and the side of the home. And we slowly go with them and take out everything, and it gets to like $1,500. And then I'm like, okay, if you book before October 7th, you get a $150 discount today, right now. Right. And so that's what we've started doing now.
Yeah. And you're closing like 60, 70% of this.
That's the number that we'll end up at after the season, like 60, 70%.
Now, please tell me you're asking for referrals.
Yeah. So
neighbors' names.
Yeah. So what we're going to start doing is there is a Christmas lights person on Twitter. He always says this. So it's like $100 the gift card or something to a steakhouse or something along those lines. So we're now starting to offer those. Right now, we're just getting all of our stuff still printed. Like it's way early in the season. Most people start advertising for this like September 15th. So we're way too early anyways.
Yeah.
Like the homes that we have done, we haven't asked directly for referrals yet, but we will when we finish the job.
Quick question. What if there were a private community out there of people that were building businesses based on this podcast? Well, I just made it. And it's only for business starters and business builders. It's called TK Owners. And it's basically like having me and 100 other business geniuses as your business partner. Also, there's going to be exclusive new trends, growth hacks, business ideas, and a database of everything I've ever talked about. You'll find thousands of startup case studies. You'll have weekly Ask Me Anythings with me while I'll answer your questions directly. You can join now at tkowners.com, link in the show notes. Your conversion rate will only get better through September, October, November even, right? So whatever it is today, we'll get orders of magnitude better.
Yeah, and these are like, there's pros and cons because all these are leads coming through Winnipeg Digest currently. So they're kind of warm leads already. If we start exploring Facebook ads and stuff, those leads are going to be a lot more colder. So our conversion rate should drop there a little bit.
Are you going to do other stuff like that?
Yeah,
you're not just going to rely on your newsletter?
We're going to do everything. Yeah, we're trying to. Okay. $100,000 is like what we want to do base level over the 2 weeks. If we're able to do 150, 200, that would be like ideal world. Yeah.
It blows my mind that you're going to come close to doubling your revenue by adding Christmas lights to a newsletter.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
Ryan Snedden added luxury wedding bathroom trailers to his newsletter.
Yeah.
And like that became a big business, right? Because events,
Yeah.
right? Events. That's what you said too. I already know that you're thinking of the spring and the summer. What other kind of seasonal and or other businesses are you thinking for this?
I know that it's like very not like a lot of people do the whole gutter cleaning, window cleaning thing in the summer and
Yeah.
spring. I don't want to get into the whole door-to-door hassle of it. Honestly, I am not a great salesperson training guy, and I might be able to become one, but I'm not that right now. My bread and butter is like marketing, where I do Facebook ads and things of that nature. So I want to explore businesses which I can utilize that in, and so most likely that's why permanent lights was a natural sell. Also, because a lot of Christmas light owners, what ends up happening is they'll say, hey, we're actually 50-50 on whether we want Christmas lights or not, right? Because we're considering permanent lights. And the permanent lights average order value is about 4 to 5x whatever Christmas lights is. Obviously, LTV, no, but just a one-time cost. So what we're able to do is bring in someone for Christmas lights. So let's say first season, we make some money on them and then say, okay, if you do permanent lights with us the following year, you get $500 discount. So we're basically just pre-selling customers for permanent lights during the Christmas light season, right? And rather than making that money over 3 years, we're just going to make that money over 2 years because they're going to do first season of Christmas lights, then they're going to do permanent lights the following season.
Smart. I should have asked this earlier, but what has your timeline look like with your newsletter and like subscriber growth? When did you launch? How many subs did you add those first few months to today?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we were adding like 4,000-ish subs a month, 4 or 5,000 actually. Now it's decreased to like 2-ish K, give or take, where, we're still spending the same amount of money. So it's about $3,000. But then, yeah, you start like saturating your market and things like that. So now pretty soon, I think like it might be time where I just turn off ads and try and spend that money on referrals or something. So if we can do, whether that's giveaways or lead magnets or something like that for referrals and just try and get more subscribers that way, I think that might be the next thing we try and go into.
So how many months to get to 35,000?
It's been, so we started in April, whatever that is. I think like 17 months or something like that, 16, 17
Okay.
months. Yeah.
That's amazing. At this time, no plans to launch other local newsletters. You want to keep growing this way.
I've had a lot of interest from other cities for sure. Just because I talk about local newsletters on Twitter and and obviously I've been on your pod and Nick's pod and stuff. So I've had a lot of interest of people saying, hey, can we franchise this out or something like that? It's just that I know my dollars will be much better spent trying to vertically integrate this currently, right? Like, so Christmas lights took $10,000 of initial capital to start. If I started another location instead of Christmas lights, I might do $100,000 in 10 weeks. The new location would have taken me $20,000, $30,000 to then on sponsors make like $50,000, $60,000 the first year. And then once I'm able to prove out a money model, at least in my city. So let's say if I know, okay, I'm going to on average make $200,000 from just the newsletter and then another $200,000 to $500,000 from Christmas lights. I might not even explore other businesses after that. It might just be, okay, that's the business model. I'm going to go to other cities and start.
This is a cash cow.
Yeah. Start the media company. Based on the media company, start Christmas lights. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel confident that you could, as of today, with what you know now, pick another city, not move there, not know really anything about it, and have just as much success?
100%. I could, like once you've been in the space for over a year and a half, and I think for me, the USP is the unique selling point would be the social media aspect of things. So social media, so if anyone is going to start this, don't forget about social media, because at this point, I'm a top 3 followed, let's say, account in my city, right? If I reach out to an account or a business, they're almost obligated to reply to me. So it makes my cold outreach so much easier, and the reply rate just skyrockets rather than me emailing them. So if you're going to go down this route, also social media is a great way to upsell your current sponsors into saying, hey, I have 2 different channels that you can reach. Right. So that's the unique selling point if you are going to start one.
Yeah. Dude, you got to reach out to local businesses that collect emails and say, hey, I'll give you a free ad in exchange for your list. Like, let me share your list, basically, right? Because they're probably not using it. Most companies that collect emails, They just sit there. They don't do, because it takes work,
Yeah.
right? To regularly work your list. So a lot of them are going to be dead, but you could say, I'm going to run them through a verifier, and you could either pay them, 10 cents per email, or just say, I'll give you $2,000 worth of ads for your 20,000 person list. And they have no idea what it's worth.
Like, would you just add them to your list? Like, rather than, I guess, sending an email saying, hey, subscribe.
I would just feel it out. Yeah. Like try multiple angles, like segment the list. And let's say it's 20,000. You take 4 groups of 5,000 to one. You just say, hey, I partnered with Mike's Bakery, and I would really love you to check out my local newsletter. 5,000, you just kind of work them into your list, segment them differently so you could track them, make sure they're cleaned and scrubbed. How many are opening? Oh, it's not bad. Okay. And then the other 10,000, try different kind of creative things.
It's a time game, right? Like, I love this is obviously my first or second business, but I've heard a lot that businesses that are just a time game are the best businesses to be in, because as long as I'm just in this business and my list keeps growing, it's essentially a business that can't lose. It's an audience that I can not only monetize through ads, but then I can run my own businesses on it. So it's just a time business. The longer I'm in the
Yeah.
business, the more money I'm going to make.
Oh man. I just kind of had a thought where it's like every aspiring entrepreneur or entrepreneur business owner or whatever, they know that having an audience is powerful. But 95% of them have no desire
Yeah.
to get in front of the camera and to do all that stuff because it sucks.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I've been there, right? So they don't even consider it. They're like, I know having an audience is valuable, but not for me.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a great loophole into that, right? Where you can just, through the power of the written word, through Claude, through ChatGPT, through a virtual agent or a virtual assistant, you can use emails to build an audience without having to get in front of the camera. But you can still have all that power. Like it's like 35,000 people in a city is more powerful than 1 million TikTok followers that are worldwide. It is.
I joke around with some of my friends. I'm like, if I wanted to, in 3 years, I could run for mayor, right? Like,
Totally.
Basically, I could have enough pull in the city to be able to run for mayor.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think I completely agree with what you said, because the biggest problem people run into when looking to make content is, what do I talk about? In this case, you already have what you're going to talk about because things are happening in your local town.
Fresh content every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a business at the very base level. The writing and all that stuff can be given out to 1 or 2 VAs, and they can handle 90% of the business for you. And all you really have to do is deal with sponsorships if you're not even able to, give that out. If you are able to also delegate that, then good on you, So it's not a business where you need 40 hours a week. In the beginning, I was spending 40 hours a week to write and also do sponsorships. But as you continue to grow, you can easily run this whole business on 15 hours a week.
I just feel like this, under an hour video is probably about as tactical and specific as you could get on the internet for launching a local newsletter.
I 100% agree. And honestly, if anyone is going to start one, they can reach out to, like, the local newsletter community is fairly friendly, and you can reach out to anyone. And other than that, just go to Facebook ads library, search up any local newsletter. You can search up my local newsletter, Winnipeg Digest.
And what's the 80-20 of your best performing ads? Video, Instagram, Facebook, 15-second?
It's simply at the top, usually have some sort of a local monument as the background. Video or image, test both. I would say video has done better for me, some sort of a drone footage of a local monument. Then at the top, it says struggling to find things to do in blank city, right? So let's say struggling to find things to do in Winnipeg. Underneath it, say Winnipeg Digest or blank newsletter sends you 50 plus events happening in the city every single week. That's it. That is the best performing ads that you will probably find.
One thing I love about this business is how, like, let's say you're once a week, you can start there. It's very palatable. You do it yourself. You sell out your ads. The easiest lever to pull is now twice a week. Cool. I just doubled my revenue. 3 times a week, tripled it. 4 or 5. Why not 7? Let's do 7. And if you're running out of like current events, you just do opinion pieces.
And if you live in New York or something, like a really large city, and you don't know how to split things up, you can also like almost niche down twice. So you're already niche down geographically, and then you can do dads in New York. You can do
freelancers
in New York. Yeah, like freelance in New York, because each of those audiences is going to be 1 million people on its own, if not more, in larger cities. So let's say
So
if I
good.
lived in Austin, I would have just done something like young dads in Austin or something like that. Alone is probably like
Yeah.
15,000 people or so.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be so bold as to say you'd be dumb to be in New York and just do a New York local newsletter. Like you're just nothing to no one in that sense, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you could do like a Williamsburg moms,
Yeah.
like pick a neighborhood, pick a demographic.
100%. And the higher obviously and your audience, the more expensive sponsors you can sell, right? That's the biggest thing. Only downside to newsletters I will say is you might run out of sponsors eventually, if you keep
Yeah.
providing a great result, yeah, okay, you're obviously always going to have those core sponsors, so you'll have 100, 150, $200,000 worth of revenue coming in. But if that's your goal, go ahead, start one, but you should probably look at ways to monetize on top of the newsletter eventually.
Oh, Jazz, this was great. Where can we look for you if we have questions?
Yeah, Twitter handle is creating jazz, so feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions, and happy to chat with whoever wants to jam on some local newsletter ideas.
Yeah, and for the 14 listeners in Winnipeg, Canada, go check out the Winnipeg Digest.
Yeah, and reach out to me and maybe we can grab coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jazz.
yeah, thank you.
All right. What'd you think? Please share it with a friend, and we'll see you next time on the Koerner Office.